Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today, an innocent question asked during a G7 dinner about which country has the better wine has caused an international outroar, and leaders of both countries are so freaking angry that they're mobilizing their armies to settle the issue with trial by combat, with their general Survivalist commanding the Italian armies in red, getting ready to take on the Bloodless commanding the Frankish forces in blue. Now, while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate and closed-off surroundings, because like yesterday, we find ourselves on Arena today and try to get their butts up to Castle Age ASAP. Not a bad time for us to take a look at the two nation states that will be fighting it out for the honor of who has the better and best wine. Although I suspect probably a matter of personal preference. Who's kidding who? Ibex, hello. Okay, Survivalist doing his usual playing with his dinner before he finally kills it. The Italians, a cost-cutting civilization. Their university techs are cheaper, advancing to the next age is cheaper, and their gunpowder units, yeah, you got it, are cheaper as well. Now, using all of their saved resources, the Italians can field two unique units as their walls collapse around them. The first is the Genoese crossbowman, a pretty decent foot archer that comes with a good attack bonus against cavalry. Watch out, Franks. The second, the Condottiero, is a quick-moving, tanky infantry unit with not only a massive attack bonus against gunpowder units, but also added bonus armor against certain gunpowder units. Now, to make these units even tankier on the field of battle, their Condottieri and their foot archers, except for their skirmishers, can be upgraded to get extra +1/+1 armor. And starting in Imperial Age, by the way, you can use your barracks to train the Condottieri. You don't actually have to pay for an upgrade. That just happens automatically. Unlike the Huns, unlike the Goths, it is free of charge because, of course, the Italians are a cost-cutting civilization. So why the hell not get some stuff for free? Now, opposing the wine debate here to the north, we've got the Franks, the OG cavalry civilization, harkening back all the way to the Age of Kings, which, as medieval as it sounds, was really 1998, which I guess for some of you does sound pretty much medieval, since I'm assuming a good number of people watching this were born with the numbers 20 in their birthday, in the front of their birthday, and yeah. Damn you, young people. In any event, Frankish knights come with extra line of sight. Their stables can be upgraded to work much faster, and all of their mounted units, like Viking infantry, get more HP starting in the feudal age. Now, to support their heavy cavalry on the field of battle against certain units that might want to snipe them, well, they can turn to their unique unit, the Throwing Axemen, a ranged infantry unit similar to the Malian Gabeto, whose range can be even further increased. And to help a player train as many Throwing Axemen as humanly possible, Frankish castles are needed, and they come in at a decent discount, 15% cheaper in Castle Age, 25% cheaper in Imperial. Now, to help the Franks build and train and basically grow their entire civilization, their foragers work faster than normal, and they get all mill upgrades free of charge. Pardon me, I think I just slammed into my microphone in any event. Those are the two civilizations we've got in front of us. And let me know in the comments below, do you prefer a nice Italian red? Do you prefer a French wine? I myself prefer Coca-Cola, although in the Coke versus Pepsi debate, you'll be very hard-pressed to nail me down to one choice. I love it all, sugar of all kinds, whether it's white refined, cane, stevia, and all the other fake ones like aspartame. As long as it's sweet, yours truly will consume it like a glutton, basically like a character out of a Willy Wonka movie. Well, there you go. Not too sure why I went down this road in this conversation. But in any event, we've got the Franks, we've got the Italians, we're on Arena, and we're watching the power duo, Survivalist, the Bloodless. Will they follow the usual three-part meta? Before we get into that, more importantly, where the hell are the resources located inside their base? The Bloodless has his forward stone a little bit in the forward position, but not too much at risk initially. Both primary and secondary gold nice and to the rear. Survivalist, golden, pretty much off to the side. Where is the stone? Nice and secure. And he is already mining it. Will we see yet another, a siege tower, villager push, castle drop? He asks, wondering why there are two villagers. I mean, perfectly placed, by the way, in this Cassiopeia-shaped W stone pile. I love when players do this. And not a villager here or here, for example. This is about as optimal as you can get. The second their pockets are full of rocks, They just, I don't even know if we'll be able to see them turn around and deposit. Let's see, 8, 9. I didn't notice anything. Did you? Well, there you go. That's about as efficient as you can get. So internal resources looking good for both players. Second thing you want to make sure is that forests don't form part of your wall off, because forests are weak, and the weak don't survive in Age of Empires. And it looks like both players are nice and safe, although, ooh, not too sure about this. Although this is not a straggler tree, because it is next to a nice snowy pine, which means that even if you were to cut it down, you cannot put a palisade on this. Although, if you onager shot this is a nice little way to get into the base. Third, where are the expansions? It looks like the Bloodless has a nice amount of expansion to the rear. Survivalist as well. So on the whole, both players in a pretty similar spawning position. Pretty similar starting position. And yeah, I'm curious, very curious. I didn't notice, among other things, as I was fascinated by these two gentlemen working the quarry, and he's already up to 360 stone. I didn't notice whether Survivalist went up on 500 food or 425, because the Italians got a 15% discount, but in Age of Empires, muscle memory is so deep that I don't know if pro players, high elo players, necessarily adjust their strategies if they're so used to their build orders just for one of the 45 civilizations. So at the end of the game, if I remember, hopefully I remember, never a given with me whether I remember, thanks to a misspent years of youth. My memory is maybe not as good as it should be. I'm going to try to remember to go back and see whether Survivalist did in fact go up on 500 food with the muscle memory of the other civilizations, or whether he went up on 425. For now, it looks like these scouts have fought one another a little bit. Will it be the Frankish cavalry? I mean, the Italians can pretty much counter a good number of what the Franks can throw at them. Whether you're going heavy cavalry, whether you're going hand cannoneers, what the Franks do have. Okay, Bloodless hanging out a little bit too long in front of Survivalist base. Loses the fight, dies. How many relics has our Frank seen? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is the fifth that he hasn't seen? Oh my goodness, literally the one right next to his base. Where are you? There you are. The one relic that's the closest to his base is the one he has not seen. Survivalist, for his part, has seen all 5. So as I was about to mention before, I went down a bunch of different rabbit holes and distractions and all that kind of stuff. Usually 3-part meta on Arena, although I suspect with this many villagers on stone so quickly, we may not necessarily get to see the 3-part meta. First one is the players rush up to Castle Age. As you can see, top left, top right of your screen, the Roman numeral 3 in red, the Roman numeral 3 in blue are out in force. So stage 1 of the game is quickly approaching its conclusion. Stage 2, the players fight over the golden gravity physics-defying relics. Once those relics are accounted for, stage 3 begins, and the players build big ol' armies. Now, we've seen a few wrenches thrown into these stages here and there. No, why did you go into a corner? I don't even know if Survivalist was really necessarily following that scout, unless I think he probably just like right-clicked him here, because he is not following the 3-part meta. He is moving forward, but there's no siege tower, which tells me his castle is going to be outside in the snow, and immediately begins tiefing the stone. So good location, and this is where scouting comes in very handy. Had he placed the castle here, he would be jacking the gold as opposed to the stone, which means once he busts his way into here, and believe you me, he will with a castle bust his way into here. With stone, he can place another castle. With gold, he can train units. So this tells me Survivalist wants to establish a bit of a beachhead inside of the Frankish base. The Frank, of course, sees all of this. Kill count stands at an even 1-to-1. And there you go. Genoese crossbowmen are out, which means bye-bye cavalry response. Although with 3 spearmen, not too sure what kind of cavalry response at this stage of the game the Bloodless can really put up. He is instead building house wall to the left, house and siege wall to the right. Will he rush up to the Imperial Age? Our Frank currently ahead 1 villager, but his army count stands at a meager 2 with 1 monk. So to be fair, if he wants to play it a little risky, where's his monastery? Nice into the back. He can go out and collect relics Survivalist is about as single-minded as you can be right now. He is focused entirely on this quadrant of the map. He is not looking around, and blue does not see any reinforcing units. I mean, it would be nice if he moved around a little bit, but he does not see anything heading this way. And so not a bad time, actually, for our Frank to start collecting relics. Pretty bad time for a Scorpion if he enters this death line. You got to be so careful. You don't know when or if fletching will complete for your opponent. And now that he's shoved in a bunch of archer units into there, going to be a lot of arrows being fired. Survivalist continuing to expand the breach of that one tile into 3 more tiles. Pardon me, 4 more tiles for a total of 5 tiles. My goodness. And now the scouts are going to move in. They're going to see the teething of the stone. So he knows there's another castle coming now, the Bloodless. This isn't the first time he's played against this Survivalist character. The problem for Survivalist, he's busted in. But thanks to our review of the resources, we know that he has not lamed a single resource. He's seen a little bit, not a whole lot. There are no reinforcements, so this is a nice push. Okay, finally split the cavalry units. Looking around. Now, this relic may be a little bit risky to get, but certainly the ones to the bottom left in the center of the map should be fair game for our Frank. And yeah, okay, so Survivalist, he's wondering, what the hell's going on? Are you building eco? Are you building siege? There's that first mangonel yours that I see. By the way, where the hell is your Scorpion? Here it is on the left. Survivalist attacks with a villager, but bit of a murder-suicide situation. Mutually assured destruction, and both mangoes fall to the ground. One monk, second monk down, and not a single conversion, pardon me, except for a spearman. That was terrible. More villagers are starting to be moved forward here, but that just means Survivalist has more targets as 1 villager. I should have started with this one. 2 villagers, excusez-moi, as they would say in Blues territory, do fall. Counter castle is going up. Let's see who's going to complete theirs first. Oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this neck and neck. It's going to be a photo finish here. Frankish castle just barely completes, gets 1 villager. Aiming for a second, does not get it. And now the Italian castle is here. Battering ram for blue. I like, by the way, the location of blue's castle, hidden behind a house in a siege workshop. So Survivalist, who is training his own ram, is going to have to make it through a bit of detritus first. Detritus, I guess, if he knocks it down. Whole structures if he doesn't. On the other hand, our Italian has direct access. Look at that. Straight into the Italian castle. I'm assuming a mangonel will be popping out, but Survivalist doesn't have the gold. Survivalist is resource starved. All of his villagers are on stone. He's ahead 2 vills because of those 2 that he killed. He has lost 1 though, thanks to that castle going up. But battering ram versus battering ram is not bad. They do come with a plus 40 attack bonus against one another. That's Survivalist and garrisons. Now, what kind of sucks for us is these battles are happening behind the structures, which means we are watching shadows on the wall, outlines like the cave troglodytes in Plato's analogy or allegory or whatever the hell it's called. We are just watching shadows. We don't know if they're real or not, but I guess they're not really real. 1s and 0s on a screen. Survivalist moves forward, says, "You're not getting any stone under my watch." Oh my god, he's teething the external, he's laming the internal. Even the Franks need some stone for their castles. By the way, our Frank has lost all his siege. He's not training anymore. He's going villager, so he is going economic play right now, hoping that his castle can stick around long enough for him to be able to at least go up to the Imperial Age and get a Treb out. Is that what he's hoping for? He's down 4 villagers. Total kills 9 to 7. I don't know why I said kilts. I'm not watching the Celts in their kilts. Are there any Celtic units in kilts? I don't think so. Now Survivalist is going to start gathering relics, but a little bit too close to this scout. Hello, Mr. Man on a horse. Get off your ass. You know what? This might be an interesting play out of the Bloodless. Let Survivalist do the heavy lifting. Let his monk get the relic and then kill him right here. Right outside the castle line, and then delete the wall, send your own monk to get it. Yeah, let this monk do the work. Why the hell not? Like a group project between the 2 players. Another villager dies here for Survivalist. We'll see if that is in fact the case, or if I am just reading way too much and just getting way too giddy here. No, it's not. Okay, that would have been funny if that's what he did. Battering ram getting repaired by 2 villagers. Weird that there's no outline behind the battering ram. Siege workshop is down. Does our Frank have a replacement? He does not. He is spending his wood on another town center. So definitely an economic play. He's up to 600 gold. The death screams of horses, of villagers, the collapsing sounds of buildings. This is a pretty interesting push out of Survivalist. His castle is going to fall first if he doesn't repair it. He is still taking stone here, and he's up to 723 stone. I wonder why he's attacking in this part and not here where it's not exposed to this castle, but throwing axemen. The Bloodless channeling his inner Survivalist and shoving a bunch of units into another unit, as Survivalist likes to do. But unfortunately, unlike Survivalist in that short that I made, his throwing axemen are having a bit of a difficult time here. They are being hounded by castle, by Genoese, and there we go, deletes the wall just to let himself survive. Another mangonel moves forward to replace the one that died. And there's a replacement siege workshop here for our Frank. Okay. Not that he's going to really need it. Survivalist does have the same amount of gold as his opponent, but he just dumped a bunch of it into mangonels. Well, cancel it and made only 1 mangonel. And now he's going up. Okay, so Survivalist on the left side of your screen, we'll see, has bought and sold, is going up to Imperial. Our Frank spending food on upgrades, although he just canceled them. Now, throwing axemen are not exactly expensive. They are only, pardon me, 55 food compared to your average 60, 65. But the more of them he trains, I mean, 7 of them with the 7 that he trained here, the food would have gotten him up to Imperial at this point. So it will be, in fact, Survivalist who hits Imperial first. Whether he'll be able to train a Treb out of this is a different question, because with Bodkin, this castle ain't getting repaired anytime soon. Especially not by just 4 villagers who are going to get sniped immediately. That being said, I don't think Survivalist really cares if this castle goes down, because he's up to almost 1,000 stone. Externally, we've got Genoese hunting the crossbow, the throwing axeman, whose range is pretty darn shitty. And no bearded axe has been researched, because of course every single piece of steak, every single bar of gold has to be spent only on the Imperial Age, and Imperial Age is en route. 1 left tap castle goes down. I mean, you can there we go. I was gonna say let them out here. Why actually, pardon me, no you can't, my bad. This castle will still be able to kill them. Not too sure what the Bloodless is doing here. His battering ram's a little bit aimless, wandering around. Now, if he could get it over here, it would be another story, but by the time it gets there, unloads its friends. Yeah, he's not going to be able to stop that castle from going up. And for the second time, Survivalist plops down a castle inside enemy territory. Ballistics for our Italian as well. Our Frank just roiding up his throwing axeman and getting some... oh, why did he get padded archer armor? Why did the Bloodless get padded archer armor? Is he gonna add a few skirmishers in here? This is a melee unit. Padded archer. Okay, he is going skirmishers. All right. Now, one thing you're not short of on this map is wood. And the Genoese, are they enough to one-shot healthy villagers? It certainly seems like it. Ouch, ouch, ouch. 7, 8. But they've entered into the town center firing area, and one of them does pay the ultimate price. Trebs out for red. We're an Imperial. Where are your Trebs? Oh, you don't have the wood for Trebs. You spent all your wood on rams and skirmishers. There it is. He had to sell 300 food just so he could buy 100 wood. That is incredibly sour. And what's even more sour for Survivalist, he's losing his Trebs. Murder holes, murder holes. Even without murder holes, there are enough units outside the castle, and there's a backup castle so that those throwing axemen die. I'm gonna say the Bloodless isn't being quite as effective with these throwing axemen as he could be, but he's got a Treb out. Doesn't have the wood or the gold for another one. Doesn't have the wood or the food for that many skirmishers either. Oh, he just dumped a bunch of resources into ballistics. Is that really a priority right now? He is still down only 5 villagers despite being down 6 in the kill lead. And what will prevail here? Survivalist's attack round or the Bloodless' slow, inexorable advance onto the Mangonel. Okay, so far not the greatest attack round. I'm telling you, he's popping them out at the worst possible times, and they are accomplishing nothing, those throwing axemen. And that's it. Okay, another shitty attack round out of Survivalist, who does manage to destroy the castle. It falls, and GG is called. Survivalist with the aggression. Ultimately, also, by the way, collected 4 relics. Okay, I mean, that scout here had an opportunity to do one of the funniest, coolest things ever, which is let Survivalist gather the relic and then kill him right when he was close to his base. But he had more pressing things on his mind, I guess, when his base was being absolutely slammed into. And elite skirmishers are, they're good against the Genoese, but now the Condottiero is out. Look at this attack bonus, gunpowder +10, and then it has infantry armor, which is the special armor that they have against certain gunpowder units, which I believe is hand cannoneers, if I'm not mistaken. So it basically nullifies the attack bonus that a hand cannoneer has against infantry, with another +10 attack bonus against that gunpowder unit, so that hand cannoneer. So a 20 HP swing, just bonkers, but wow. Look, lately on the channel during the live streams, Survivalist has been having a rough go at it. I think the Bloodless has been taking a lot of W's, a lot of notches on his belt in this matchup, so it's good to see Survivalist fight back and fight back so aggressively. From the first time he killed that scout down here, I don't think the Bloodless has been out on the map. Yeah, look at this. He hasn't even seen the houses getting upgraded to McMansions here as the real estate market booms in Italy. And speaking of real estate, speaking of Italy, I guess it's Italian wine. One of my favorite is Croniolo, which my wife introduced me to. But again, always prefer a Coke or a Pepsi. Croniolo is not a bad wine. So I guess in this debate, not to cause too much of a stir myself in this particular matchup, Italian wine beats out Frankish wine. Let's take a look at the numbers. And then I do remember that I wanted to go back to Dark Age to see how Survivalist played it. Did he go up at 425? I mean, he was so focused that Genoese and Trebs were his 1 and 2. Throwing Axeman could have done a lot better here for the Bloodless, but he just didn't have enough Rams, I don't think, to shuttle them around. APM for both players kind of low. One at the right beginning of the game, one right at the end of the game. And I can't imagine the economies are too dissimilar since the game was so short. Wow. Not too dissimilar at all. Literally 24 resources out of 20,000. I don't even know quickly what that is as a percentage. What is that, like 0.00001 or 00? I could be so annoying right now and just keep going 0000, but I'm not going to. Our Italian tiefing all the stone and more importantly, laming the stone. What a brilliant play at a Survivalist against the Franks, because the last thing you want is the Franks to get 1,000 stone, hit Imperial, 1 castle, 2 castle, and 30 throwing axemen show up in your rear end with a bunch of Trebs, and all of a sudden you get absolutely wrecked. Your economy isn't exactly the biggest at home because you've gone all in with the aggression, and so you're still on with just 1 town center. And so kudos to him, not only for attacking from the right and not the left, which is where scouting comes from, but or rather where scouting comes into play, but more importantly, laming the Franks' ability to get the stone. And unlike other maps, you basically just have 1 internal, 1 external stone, and then the rest are contested. Where are they out on the map? There's 1 patch here on the left, very hard to see in the snow. That is a wolf, that's not stone. And I think is that the only... No, there's another contested one here on the right. I was going to say, I don't think I looked at the wolf. I thought I saw this, but then my eyes, of course, got distracted. So amazing economy to be so similar. 1 conversion for our Frank, no conversions for Survivalist. 9 raisings to 1. Total kill count at a massive 50 total. 8 villager kills to 2. And here we go. Usually it's around this time that they kind of... No, pardon me. Oh my god. 1 second. Usually... Oh, so they both... Okay, here we go. Sorry, you have to hear me mumbling and stumbling through my... Oh, you know why? Because when I edit videos... usually it's at the 8-minute or so mark. 8 to 9 minutes that players usually hit castle. So I was working backwards, but then I remembered, wait a second, these are in-game minutes that are 1.7 seconds faster. Or yeah, 1.7 times faster than normal seconds. So my apologies. I was thinking this is real time as opposed to game time. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Survivalist not really giving us a clue as to what his intentions are because he clicks up to feudal age when he has 600 food. So not 500, not 425. I guess we could see whether he clicked up to castle age thinking he would need 800, 200 instead of what the Italians actually need, which is 680, 170. Yeah, you see, Survivalist geared his entire economy, and now he managed to get loom, which he probably wouldn't have gotten if he wasn't the Italians, because he thinks he needs 200 gold, but now that he's the Italians and he only needs 170 gold, he can wait literally 1 second, force drop these 3 gold miners. So you see how he goes up on 868? That's because he geared his entire build order towards a normal non-Italian civilization. Well, most civilizations that aren't Italian. Had he been 100% optimal, and I know Survivalist, I watched his stream for so long, he loves to be as optimal as possible. He would have geared it so that the second he finished researching loom, he wouldn't have 868 food in the bank. He'd have 680. So he could have gone up not with 25 villagers maybe, but 24 or 23. So that's what I'm talking about, muscle memory. It's always fun for me. I'm not critiquing Survivalist, especially since he ended up winning this game. But it's just fun to see how even pro players, their muscle memory is so ingrained after tens of thousands of games that they don't realize they're going. The gold he realizes because he spent it on loom. Again, I don't think he would have spent it on loom. I think he would have been like our Frank, who remains loomless, like most arena players / civs who remain loomless for a while. But because he was the Italians, he could sneak in that 50 gold expenditure and then literally click up by force dropping or maybe just waiting a few seconds for these villagers. So always fun to see. He has 188 superfluous food at the moment. And that is something I know Survivalist will be maybe not upset about, but maybe in a build order that he makes will make sure that this is a 0-0, and that is pretty much as optimal as you can get. Maybe not the gold 0, but the food definitely is 0, since you don't really need food, especially if you're not building a barracks stable to contest the relics with scouts. You're going the good old market blacksmith combo. But in any event, neither here nor there. It is Survivalist. Let me go back right towards the end, back to the future. Survivalist with the absolute bonkers push, both players buying the hell out of their economies. But it is our red Italian who settles the G7 debate and takes the W, but GG in a fun game to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.